Hello, this is Larry Tentarelli. I'm a full-time technical trader and the editor and publisher of the Blue Chip Daily Trend Report, and I'm here with a public blog and video called To Make Big Money, You Need to Learn How to Lose Money. And the reason for the timing on the blog and video is I've heard a lot from traders and investors, especially over the past couple of weeks, that there were positions that they wanted to take, but they weren't sure about the market. They had some concerns. They were scared maybe of taking a loss. Then the position went on to be a big winner. So I wanted to talk about that and just share some of my insights. So you can go through this blog at your convenience. I talk about the correct mindset, risk management, stop losses, position sizing. There's a look at a chart of Microsoft, and then overall account risk, and then a summary. But just in a nutshell, and I'll walk you through a few key things. And as I said, you can go through this at your convenience. But in order to make big money, a trader or an investor has to have a position. And often what happens is they're so concerned with either being wrong or taking a loss that they don't take any position. And then what happens is the position winds up to become a big winner. So what we want to do is learn how to embrace and control the losses so that we can take the positions that are necessary. So one of the major differences between novice traders and investors, they focus only on the upside, whereas experienced professionals focus on risk management and they look to manage the downside. So professional traders and investors know that losses are a part of the process, so they learn how to manage them so that they can take the positions necessary to make money. There's a couple quotes here from Paul Tudor Jones. He's a self-made billionaire trader with a key focus on risk management. And he says here, don't focus on making money, focus on protecting what you have. There's a couple other interesting insights from him. Then a couple key things. So I use stop losses. I use hard stop losses in the system. As soon as I take a position, I put the stop loss in the system right away. And if it goes down to my stop loss, then the trade gets closed out automatically by the system. We'll take a look at that in a second, but it helps to quantify the risk and remove or reduce the emotional overrides. Position sizing is very important. We need to know how much are we willing to risk in a position so that we can avoid the fear of having a very big loss. So in this example, I used a $100,000 account. We spoke about having a $10,000 position with a 10% stop loss. So if it got stopped out, it would cost $1,000 versus equity, which is 1%, and that's fairly standard. 0.5% to 1% is fairly standard in the trading and investment process. Then you can go through, take a look at the math. I gave an example here with Microsoft, and what this shows, and this is a hypothetical example, is if I took an entry here, my stop loss would go in the system right away, 10% lower. So if I take the position and the trade starts to go down, as soon as it hits my 10% loss, then it's automatically closed out by the system. There's nothing for me to think about or nothing for me to do. Then I talk about determining overall account risk. And what this means is that even if we have the positions sized properly, if they all get stopped out, then what happens is that it can create a bigger drawdown. So we have to know, worst case scenario, if everything gets stopped out, how much do we stand to lose, and are we comfortable with that? It's also key to know that for the most part, traders and investors can only handle half as much volatility as they think they can. And then I go through the summary. So it's a mindset, it's math, and it's a process. Once traders and investors learn how to embrace the losses, quantify the risk, determine how much we're prepared to lose in a position, how much we're prepared to lose in the overall account, and then pre-plan as much as possible to follow the process consistently, it makes it much simpler to take the positions, manage the risk. We know that some are going to work, some aren't going to work, but if we can avoid the big losers or avoid the fear of having a big loser, then what we can do is we can put ourselves in a position to get into the big winners that we need to generate the long-term returns over time. So just a few things quickly. Brief disclaimer, which says everything in the video is for informational purposes only. And then a brief introduction to my website. It's bluechipdaily.com. If you go to the Join Now page, we are actively accepting new members. and you can see some benefits. There are daily benefits. There's also weekly benefits for our subscribers. So we appreciate your time, and we hope we get to see you shortly.